Hey BookTube, it's Jen from Word Nerd, and I'm here with a two-part video. First, I have an unboxing, and second, I am going to do a genre talk, and that is about creative nonfiction. It is my favorite. I'm so excited to talk about it with you guys. So let's get to this unboxing, because I'm excited. So I got this in the mail, and got some stuff in it. And the first thing in there is Seraphina and the Black Cloak by Robert Beatty. And I won this from a Goodreads giveaway. So for you thrifty shoppers, I would strongly recommend going to the giveaway section on Goodreads.com and entering as many contests as you can. So this book is about a girl named Seraphina who lives in the basement of the Biltmore estate. And she is told never to leave the basement. But one day she does, and magic and things ensue. The illustration is beautiful. I love it. I think it's genius. I think it's really cute and quirky and magical. So I'm excited to read this, actually. And when I do, I will review it, and you guys can check it out. The next thing I see is a spiral notebook with the cover on both the front and back, as well as some illustrations on the inside. This is so cute. I've never gotten a notebook with a giveaway before, so that's really cool, and I use the crap out of notebooks. I write everything down. And I also got in this magic bag a little Seraphina and the Black Cloak bookmark. It's just the cover again, and on the back it says, "Our character isn't defined by the battle we win or lose, but by the battles we dare to fight." So that seems pretty intriguing. I want to know what Seraphina is up to. And I also got these 3 mini posters that are also advertisements on the back. So this is my Seraphina and the Black Cloak giveaway unboxing. This is by Disney Hyperion, and it is coming out this month, so check it out. Also, there's a book trailer if you want to check that out. I'll leave the link down below. It seems pretty cute. On to part 2 of my video, and I'm super excited about this. This is creative nonfiction genre talk. So, as you know, if you've been watching my videos, I recently graduated college with an English degree and a creative writing minor. So I'm super involved in writing, and I actually came across creative nonfiction in my college career. My first creative writing course was actually a creative nonfiction course. I didn't think it was. I thought it was just a general intro, and I almost dropped the course, but my professor convinced me to stay, and I absolutely fell in love with the genre. So creative nonfiction is based in truth, but creative nonfiction includes that creative element of the writing craft. So it's not just textbooks, it is a highly crafted means of telling a true story. And there's so many ways that this can be done. Creative nonfiction is awesome because it's highly experimental. You can do whatever you want, basically, as long as you hold a contract with the reader about the truth. So if you haven't heard about James Fry, he was a popular author of A Million Little Pieces. This is the book. It was actually picked up by Oprah for her book club, and this chronicles James's life through rehab for drugs. It came out that most of the stuff in this book was made up. In creative nonfiction, the reader has to put their trust in the author. That's broken, it kind of unravels everything else. So this was really popular for that reason. I didn't buy this book firsthand because I don't really want to support James Fry. It completely discredited his reputation. So that's something that's really tricky in the genre that a lot of people are focused on. Let me show you some examples of creative nonfiction that I've really enjoyed, and I'll start with the ones that I read in my college career. So we really focused on women's writing, which is really exciting for me, and there have been some highly experimental ones that we've read. The first is Persepolis, the story of a childhood, and this is by Marjane Satrapi. and this is about her childhood in Iran, and it is comic book style. This is really interesting because it is illustrated. Half the story is told through the pictures, and that's what I mean by experimental. You can push the boundaries any way you like. So I think this is actually really cool that it is childish in the cartoon style, because it talks about such heavy topics such as war and death and extremism and terrorism, and there's a lot of heavy stuff going on that is highly contrasted with the childlike illustrations. So we also read The Other Side by Lacey Johnson. The Other Side is about Lacey's abusive relationship with her college professor and the night he kidnapped and raped her. And I argued that it's actually about her freedom and her struggle to freedom than it is about the actual experience. The story actually starts with her escaping through the door, and it kind of circles around. It comes back to the event and then jumps around in history, through her history. It isn't a linear story, and that's one of the most intriguing aspects about this book. So creative nonfiction doesn't have to follow a strict plotline or story structure. It can be set up however you like. Another great example of that is Lying by Lauren Slater. This subtitle says, "There is only one kind of memoir I can see to write, and that's a slippery, playful, impish, exasperating text, shaped, if it could be, like a question mark." This was one of the most interesting memoirs I've ever read. Basically, this is about her relationship with her mother, but also her experience with epilepsy. But the whole time you don't actually know if she has epilepsy or if she's using that as an extended metaphor for her relationship with her mother. And that itself brings in questions of morality, such as representing the disabled community, whether it's morally right or acceptable to use a disability as a metaphor if you don't actually have the disability. But her writing is so strong, so unique, really complex and complicated. And if you're looking for an example of creative nonfiction that really pushes the boundaries of what creative nonfiction is, definitely check this out. It's really short, but really great. So other examples of creative nonfiction are memoirs, and some of those are written by celebrities, such as Tina Fey. This is her Bossy Pants book. There's also nobody memoirs, and those are by everyday people, not well known, and their experiences. And one of those is A Piece of Cake by Cupcake Brown. This is about her really rough childhood and how she overcame it. This is also just a true story about this person's life, and she felt she had a story to tell and wanted others to maybe relate to her through that. And that's the power of creative nonfiction, is that these are people, you know, these are real people, and you can make real connections with them through their writing. You can also get really weird with your creative nonfiction memoirs, and one of those is Smoke Gets in Your Eyes and Other Lessons from the Crematory by Caitlin Doughty. And this is about a woman who works in a crematory, and it's really morbid, but this is about her life and things she's learned through her experiences. So yeah, you can get like really funky. It doesn't have to be like a boring straight from birth to death kind of writing. It can be just moments in your life, or just an experience such as a job. Similarly, there are books focused on events or very narrow topics. One of those is Night by Elie Wiesel. I don't know if you can see that. And this is a really short personal narrative of living through the Holocaust. And I actually hauled this book in one of my previous videos. I still haven't gotten around to it, but it's one of the really important books about the Holocaust. And books like these are like little windows into the experience, and the horror of what happened in history. We can read all we want about the Holocaust, but reading personal narratives, first-hand accounts, is how you really create that empathy and how you connect to other humans. And I think that's one of the most powerful aspects of creative nonfiction, is the power to relate to other people through your experiences. Similarly, there's Portia de Rossi's Unbearable Lightness. This is her experience with an eating disorder. So this is somebody talking about a subtopic to relate to other people suffering with an eating disorder, or just to share information to educate people about the eating disorder. There's also a ton of memoirs about writing. One of the most famous is Stephen King's On Writing, which is a mixture between memoir and kind of writing advice, some criticism. I hauled this in one of my previous videos, and I'm pretty excited about it, as you know if you watched the video. So this kind of blends together his life with his writing experience and his advice to other writers. And that's what I love about writing creative nonfiction, is you can blend in your story with whatever you want to talk about. There's no limits really, and writing about writing is one way to do so. There are other books such as Margaret Atwood's Negotiating with the Dead, a writer on writing. Mary Karr's Lit, which is labeled a memoir. However, there's also a ton of creative nonfiction that isn't memoir. So if you're not interested in reading other people's lives or experiences, there's still a ton of options for you. So one of those books is How to Be a Heroine, or What I've Read from Reading Too Much by Samantha Ellis. This is a mixture between memoir and literary criticism, similar to how On Writing by Stephen King is a mixture between memoir and writing instruction or literary criticism. Another book that I picked up in a haul is The Edge of the Sea by Rachel Carson. As I talked about in the haul video, Rachel Carson is an environmentalist. She wrote Silent Spring, which is a really, really important environmentalist text about the environment and pollution. And this is about the ocean, but it also mixes together illustration and poetry, and it's highly lyrical. I actually learned about this through my linguistics class, and that is The Professor and the Madman. And this is actually, it says, a tale of murder, insanity, and the making of the Oxford English Dictionary. So this seems really cool, really strange, but this is a reference book. This is all about the beginnings of the Oxford English Dictionary. And my favorite creative nonfiction authors is Mary Roach. She wrote Stiff, The Curious Lives of Human Cadavers. This is all about her research into what happens to human bodies after they are dead. Also wrote Spook, Science Tackles the Afterlife. This is research into death and the afterlife, obviously. And she also wrote one about moving to, like, living on Mars, and she did a lot of scientific research for that, a lot of space research. So you can do pretty much anything. You can read about anything you want. There's a story to be told behind everything. And I also want to talk about Dr. Mooter's Marvels by Kristen O'Keefe Aptowitz. Kristen actually came to my university and she signed my book. She did a craft talk and reading about her book. She did a lot of research at the Mutter Museum. This is about Dr. Mutter, who started the Mutter Museum in Philadelphia, where I am from. And that is basically a museum of curious, really gross things in science. They have a whole wall full of skulls. They have skeletons. They have a whole case full of things that was found inside a human body. So it's really morbid, and this is about the doctor who started it all. You can learn so much through creative nonfiction. Learning isn't boring. That's what I want you to learn from this. Learning isn't boring. It can be beautiful and experimental. So I strongly recommend you guys go check out some of these books. Follow me on Goodreads and check out some of the books I have on there. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoy this video. If you have any questions about the books seen in this video or about creative nonfiction itself, message me below. I'm super excited to talk to you guys about this. And if you want more, let me know and I will continue posting. Okay, bye!